my first question is
Okay.
when you get a movie project, when you're hired onto a
Mm.
film, what do you do? What is your process for getting started?
Yeah, so it's a good question. So first of all, yeah, look, I tend to read the script. I just read it first and just get like just an idea of the whole tone of it. And when you read a book or anything like that, your tone is a little bit different to everyone else's tone. So it's just your interpretation, it's your opinion, your imagination, and so the same thing with the script. I just read it, and then at that stage, I didn't know what I was going to be doing because there was another effects company
Mhm.
involved, and so it was up for grabs. And so I read it. I read Oliver's character and said, "Oh my god, I want to do this. I'd love to do this." So and it all kind of came true. So I kind of it was a bit different to other horror films. It was a bit different than Talk to Me with
Mhm.
this one. I just felt that it was very emotional. The character, not all characters, but also just from Oliver's perspective, a little boy trapped with a demon inside him, or as Sally Hawkins' character kind of puts it, he's got an angel inside him. So Danny had a different idea of what how he interprets that demon. So yes, I just felt that it was kind of a creepy character, and then the shock kind of hit. How am I going to make a kid, kind of grow through the film, and tell a story. And then we had to pull it back in some spots at the start because you didn't want it to be too obvious at the start. You
Right.
wanted that character, you wanted to really work with the characters of the film and not kind of let the cat out of the bag
Mhm.
too early. Just wanted a bit odd,
Mhm.
you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah,
So,
so start from that. And then from there, I've got a really cool artist that I've worked with for many years. He's a mate of mine, and his name's Seth Justice, and we kind of work um, the designs and ideas together. We throw all these crazy ideas out that inspire us, and kind of just go like that. And I've introduced him to Danny on Talk to Me. We were both to do Talk to Me, but then I had to pull away to do Furiosa.
mhm.
So Danny knew Seth, and because Seth designed the hand from Talk to Me. So it was me and him. So we all started getting together and throwing ideas out. And at that stage, I still didn't know if I was doing Oliver or not. But it kind of, I think, with my excitement and some ideas that I did have, then I think that kind of got me the prosthetics for bringing it back for the major prosthetics, for Oliver. So I think it was just that quirkiness, and it kind of worked in with his quirkiness too. Like they come across, very flamboyant, very loud, and sure they are, but there's a lot of heart,
Mhm.
and obviously you've seen the film, so you kind of know there's those little kind of um, emotional moments in the film that
For sure.
he's very, very well. Yeah, the writing is well written. You know what
Mhm.
I mean? Like very thought out.
Oh yeah, I agree. The character of Oliver, I mean, like you said, your reaction develops to the character where it's like, this is so scary. And then it gets so sad, right? Once you realize like
Yeah.
what's happening, it's like, oh, I mean, yes, terrifying. And also, but I am sympathetic. So um,
Yes. Yeah.
that's a really
It's
interesting
crazy,
thing to
isn't it?
have to convey visually
Yeah.
with
The,
effects. So
yeah, I'll throw something else in there too. Like he's got so many like little Easter eggs throughout the whole film. Like
mhm,
just as you watch it, I watched it last night a second time and picked up little things I didn't pick up the first time. And I've been working on it for so long with him, you know what I mean? So I still find little things that just by the second watch. And so, but one of the things, if you notice it, if next time you see it, Oliver's got his fingers bitten. So there's so many things that didn't get into the movie that still are there, but just didn't
mhm,
explain, weren't explained. But I wanted Oliver to be a nail biter, and like Billy, how he wets the bed. I wanted him to be a nail biter, so that was his first thing before he starts biting everything. That was his first
Right.
thing. I want him to do that, and then have a little hangnail, and then pull the hangnail up
Yeah,
to the middle of his knuckle. And I thought that would just set the audiences off.
it
And
did.
Dan's like, yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
But yeah, yeah, yeah,
exactly.
but you didn't get to show it. But
Hmm.
he still had these nails bitten down in some little shots you'll see. And then I wanted that to be that sixth sense moment later in the film when you realise he's a demon. That's why this kid was fighting something, So at the start of the film, you look back and go, oh, that's why he was biting his nails. He
Right.
knew he had something inside him and was fretting. So I wanted that little kind of thing. And there's so much to do in the film. He just didn't have time to put that little moment in, but he still had the nails bitten and
Hmm.
stuff like that. And when he rips his flesh off his forearm, that was kind of like the nail bite, the nail, the hangnail moment, the
Yeah.
same kind of thing. And I wanted that to be disgusting, and
Yep.
they loved it.
Mission
Yeah.
accomplished for sure. How did you like do that? Like, what is it? It looks so real. What is
oh,
it?
so the actual skin there.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So what we like, I mean, the other thing too was, it was long out. It was a long process. The makeup was
Mhm.
long,
I can only
and
imagine.
yeah, and Jonah is a trooper. Like he honestly is, and sometimes we tangled, and I had to go, come on, we need this. We need to, because we were hitting the marks and they were loving it,
Mhm.
but still, it's a four. It was originally 5 hour makeup, you know what I mean? And to put anyone in that process is hard, let alone a child. And
Right.
this kid's hyperactive, you know what I mean? Like he doesn't stop. You just want to give him like a tranquilizer, a dart or something, just to say he doesn't stop moving, you know what I mean? Like it's that kind of thing. But the kid never, ever kind of, never complained. He was such a good kid. And so basically we had to do his whole makeup, but then this one day where he was biting the table. So
Yes.
that day where he bit
Yes.
the
I want to
table,
talk about that
yeah,
too. That's
yeah. So
definitely one
then
of
he
my
goes, and then
questions.
yeah. So then after that, the same day then he rips his hand. So we had all that in one day. It's a big day. Do you know
Right.
what I mean? So we had to have all that preset. So I had a
Mhm.
prosthetic with all the ripped off skin. Then we put a piece of skin over the top, and we
Okay.
hid that,
Okay.
and that was like a cork of skin, and that was all hidden. So he could do everything else that day, and then
Mhm.
later on, then he could rip that off. So it was kind of a little bit challenging
Yeah.
because we just didn't have the time to go back into the makeup
Right.
room and do another few hour makeup. So I had to do it all in one early in the morning and I preset it for the day. So it was that kind of thing. So it was a bit of a gamble. And
Yeah.
but I did say to them, if look at the worst case scenario, we can clean it up and post and CG just to take away. But
Mhm.
yeah, it was challenging. Yeah, but then like Davey just wanted like his the top of his hand bit. That was what he said. He goes, "Oh, I'll be
Mhm.
happy with that." And I said, "Well, it's a little bit boring. I just wanted." So that's why what's something that's going to make the audience squirm, and like ripping a bit of prosciutto off your forearm looks a lot better.
Oh my
So,
gosh. Yeah. Oh man. And it is kind of like I think everyone's been in that position, right? Where there's like a hangnail and you just can't stop messing with it. And then you take it too far and you immediately regret it,
yeah,
right? And that one just went so far. It was so good. Um,
it
I,
is, and
yeah.
and like you can't really have connection with ripping your forearm because we have never done that before. We see it in movies, but we haven't got no real internal connection to that. But we do have a connection with a hangnail, or we do have a connection with hitting our thumb with a hammer or jamming it in the door or something. And those things freak me out. So if we can put those little moments, I think that sometimes means more to the audience. Like because when we hurt our fingers or that kind of thing. So it's playing with people's emotions a little bit and yeah, that's
For
something.
sure. And it's such a delight, right? I'm sure when you get that reaction that you're hoping for, which you do. Um, I was like, okay, so before I talked to you, I asked a couple of friends who had also seen the movie, like, what should I ask him, right? And they both
Yeah.
said the dental work. Like, what
Yes.
is like, how did you cleave the palate and then make it so that Connor is still able to like
Yeah.
speak, the sweet child, right, is able to
Yeah.
speak, and then like he's biting the knife,
Yeah.
and then they also said the countertop. Like, how did you do
Yeah.
that? So
Yeah. Okay.
that's my next
So
series of
yeah.
questions.
Yeah, as you get a character, it's like writing a book or anything like that. You kind of develop it.
Mhm.
So I really wanted Oliver from stage one, when he's just normal. I wanted him to have braces, but I threw that out there, but it didn't really happen. I wanted him to have real
Okay.
big butterfly teeth and
Mhm.
have braces. And in the movie, he eats a cat, but they don't put that in the movie, right? So, but I wanted these teeth. The first part of it was the braces will break up in his mouth, and he's got wire in his mouth. He's got parts of the fur, and I just thought that would be cool.
Yeah.
But those little things go by the wayside, and we made Jack Charlton is a great dental technician here in Australia. He works on films and stuff
Cool.
and so I got in touch with him because I just thought it's just a bit it's a technical job and
Mhm.
we need the right people involved, and him and his brother were fantastic. So I gave him a plan of what we wanted, and so we made all these teeth like from stage one, and I said to Danny, I didn't want him. I wanted the fangs to look natural. Like for instance,
Mhm.
he's biting everything, and because he's biting everything, they're chipping, and that's what creates the jagged teeth, not because he's a demon,
Mhm.
right? So it was a little bit different, like more natural rather than just growing vampire fangs, that kind of thing. So we wanted the actual teeth to be from charred, from biting the tables and objects and stuff like that. And so we needed a few sets of different teeth just to break that
I'm
down.
sure.
And yeah, but they kind of they worked, but because he's such a young boy and tight skin in the
Mhm.
first few stages, it just pushed his lip out a little bit too much.
Okay.
So we decided he doesn't really say too much or talk much. So we decided not to put those teeth in until we needed them.
Mhm.
So it wouldn't push his lips out. And so when it came to the table, that was a challenge because so what they did was Jack, they created some teeth that we had some loose ones, and we could put
Ooh.
these small dental ones, dental teeth in the gums, preset them with some glue. So he had the full set of teeth. So, but when
Okay.
he bites down on the
Yeah.
fake table, those teeth break and
I
then they
know.
stick into the balsa wood. Yeah. And then
Yeah.
you see it, one's just hanging there. So they came out quite easily. And then we could then put them back in and go again. Right. And
Wow.
so that was the idea, but it was very clever. Just so yeah, so pretty much they were like your nana's dentures,
Mhm.
but they just had resettable teeth that we could put in. They get stuck into the table, or
Yeah.
he probably ate a couple. I don't know. So
That's
it
fascinating.
is. It was funny because Jonah actually loved the table. Like if you ever get to interview him, he loved the balsa wood. He was chewing on that like he loved it. He just said it was really tasty. I don't know. It was weird, but it's yeah. So,
That's fascinating.
but that was that. And then for the knife
Mhm.
gag, that was another thing. We had like a little slot in the dentures
Okay.
that that the knife could go and break the teeth. And then we then used a silicon head of Jonah um, that in the same pose, and we had the dentures kind of um, embedded in the silicon head that had a track, and we could then go up, and then Danny wanted us to flick the knife at the end and break the lip, like slice the lip open, and that was a one take wonder. Like we had to do that on one take because it would destroy the skin like of
Right.
of the lip. So that was a little bit. I was sweating bullets. I've got to admit, I was a bit nervous, and then I get and all the cameras were so tight in that space, that kitchen,
Right.
that you couldn't do anything, let alone try and cut this on the first take. So, but we managed to do it, and it was a bit of a moment. And what happens is, you know, when you get something on set with those boys, when it works, it's like a frat house. When they say cut, it's like a frat house, and they start cheering. Yeah,
Yeah,
and it's
that's what you
serious.
want. That's what I would want when you nailed it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's crazy. Everyone starts cheering and they're jumping around, and you have to laugh, and you kind of feel foolish because you go, oh my god, you know, like I'm not young anymore, but you just get into the vibe. And then the camera guys jumping around, Aaron McClinsky, they're all just cheering. So you kind of go, well, we've nailed it, you know.
Yeah, that's
And you see
amazing.
these what, and the funny thing is, you see all these washed up kind of crew members that have been around for donkey's years, and they're all enjoying it because they've got these guys that are jumping around. You know, very funny,
Yeah,
very infectious.
that's
Mm.
amazing. Okay, so cool. I got caught up in what we were talking about, so I got to go back to
That's
my
a,
notes.
yeah, sorry.
So
Okay.
fun. No, so fun. Um, okay, so I guess really what I because we have 3 minutes left. I promised 20, so we're gonna stick to it.
Oh, we
For
can we go past that or not?
I
Do
can.
you
If
want
you
to go?
can, I can.
Yeah, of
Yeah.
course you can. Yeah, Saturday
Okay.
morning here. Okay,
Cool.
don't
Oh,
stress
right.
about
It is
it.
there. Okay. Nice.
Yeah,
Um, okay. So can you give us a time when the effect like didn't work out and then how did you troubleshoot it?
yeah. Um, let me think.
You just crushed it every
Yeah.
time.
So
That's
when it
okay
didn't
too.
work to what I want, no. Look, there's always moments. You know what I mean? Like,
Yep.
so I'm just trying to think. Um, is this just? It's just on Oliver, isn't it? You're talking about,
I mean,
or
any of it. If I mean,
so
all of
so
the
the,
Oliver
so
effects were really effective. So if something didn't shake
yeah,
out,
because
like,
Oliver, yeah. So sometimes with because it was so because it was such a long process and it's a
mhm,
child, right?
right,
Um, so with Oliver, we had his belly, and you see the
hmm,
first time you see his belly, it's a small belly,
right,
right? And it's
right,
when he's eating in the kitchen.
hmm,
So that if you look at that again, we've made a really little tiny belly for him
hmm,
and skin. So that's all ribs. So
hmm,
all that is but because there was so much going on and a kid, sometimes you get a couple of edges here and there.
mm,
You might get a little edge, and so and as you got bigger, we sometimes have a little edge or whatever. So we'll just kind of colour it. We made some vein tattoos, fake tattoos, and
oh,
they're all veins. So a lot of this, all that was kind of a lot of vein work, and then we're
mm,
going with the airbrush. So we'll just hide things that way. And if
yeah,
I was a bit concerned, I'd just say to the visual effects guys,
hmm,
Jack, and I'd just say to him, look, we'll have a little moment here, and they understand because it's a kid and stuff like that.
hmm,
We can't. It's not one of those jobs where you know you have to be so pristine, and
right,
it's not an old age makeup. So if it was annoying me and I could get away with it, I'll put a bit of KY jelly, lubricant, just to
yeah,
hide, put a bit of shine, a bit of saliva or something like weird stuff there, and
hmm,
that will just kind of get rid of that. So that was kind of like when he ripped his forearm, we had a bloodline because he's topless. We had a
yeah,
bloodline that went under his arm. And, fair enough, the guy set up a camera right there, on that corner where you see the tubing. And I'm going, of all spots, like, I mean, honestly, if all spots where to put the camera, they put it right next to where what the bloodline is. So it's obvious to see. So I'd have to just say to the guys, hey, you're going to have to take that out in post,
mm,
clean that tubing out. So sometimes you get little things like that.
mm,
But one of the other major ones was that it's a very, very brief moment, but there's a thing called the Atari demon, and you'll see that when in the bathroom scene with Sally, she's asking him, "Are you there? Are you helping me or not?" And Oliver's in the bath, and his face changes to the with his red eyes. Then you
hmm,
see this quick flash of a demon, so we had to kind of create this mask for Danny, and so I said, yeah, we can do that. And so we started doing it, and it was a weird design, and it was either going to be a good one or a bad one, but we were kind of like struggling with it because it was such a creepy, weird design. And so on the day, it just we kept putting the makeup on, and they were filming other things, and Danny came in. I could tell that he wasn't not sure about it, and
Mm.
so I was like, oh my God, we're going to make a fool of ourselves here. But we just kept at it. And the lady that was helping me was Marielle McClory, and I had Lenny Irwin. So the three of us were on several times. So we just kept working at it. And sure enough, it worked really well. But it wasn't going to plan. I've got to admit, Mary Kay, it was I don't get too worked up at times, but I
Mhm.
was like really stressing out, I've got to admit. But we walked on set and everyone just jaw dropped. So I'm very, very lucky, but it just, sometimes it just doesn't work out because you're in the moment, and film has to be quick sometimes
Mhm.
because of budgets and stuff like that
Right.
during the day. So they can, as much as sometimes you can't get 5 takes. These
Right.
days it's like you get 1 or 2 takes and they want to move on. So it's sometimes a bit hard.
I'm sure. It seems impossible to me, so I'm
Mm.
very impressed with like everything that it looks like it all worked to me. But movie magic, I suppose. And this is not one of my
And,
original questions, but
and yeah,
yeah, go ahead. No, no,
yeah,
you go.
I was going to say, and I had to really push for the contact lenses.
Mm.
So, um, being a child and stuff, wearing fangs, having eyes. The eyes take away the earlier stages. The eyes aren't. You can still see out, but when you start wearing those kind of crazy eyes at the end, I
Mhm.
mean, you can't see much at all. It just see light.
Mm.
So the producers, they're fantastic. And Sam would ring me. Sam Jennings would ring me at night. I'm in the car on the way home. She's like, "Do we really need to wear for Jonah to wear these contacts?" I said, "Yes, Sam, we do." And she goes, "I'm really worried. I'm really concerned." I said, "Well, it's fine. It'll be fine. We'll make it work." And so when I got there to start, I saw Jonah, and he idolized the two boys, and so like, oh, that's it. So I get into the boys. I said, well, you've got to really nurture Jonah to say we need to get these contacts in because it's going to make the film.
Mhm.
So I kind of used a little bit of blackmail there, but it kind of worked. And he ended up loving the contacts. We got a great optometrist that had a really good rapport with Jonah, and I think
Cool.
that makes a big difference.
Mhm.
So sometimes you have those challenges, and it's just, but when they say, "Oh, we'll do it in post," it never looks the same.
Right.
So having those contacts in, as
Yeah.
you can see, it works.
Yeah. That's so impressive too,
Yeah,
because I remember being like 11 trying to wear
yeah,
contacts and it just felt so impossible until they were in. I mean, then that was
yeah,
just like regular like vision contacts that, not even
yeah.
fun, scary monster ones. So yeah.
Exactly. And we had a couple of optometrists, and so what we would do is we've got to make it fun, right? Because
Mhm.
he's a child. So we would have this competition to say. So the main guy would come in, Kurt, and you get the first one in 10 seconds or 20 seconds. And then, so if he couldn't make it the next day, and one of his colleagues would come in, Jonah would go, "Oh, can you do it quicker than him?" And so we'd count, and kind of get the optometrists against each other, pit each
Mhm.
one against each
Yeah,
other,
got to
trying
make
to
it a
who's the better.
competition. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
For
But
sure.
that kept the kid's mind, kept the kid's mind, like
Yeah.
stimulated and
Yeah,
wanting to do it. You know what I mean? And then
for sure.
I promised him things like, "Oh, you're gonna be on the front cover of Fangoria magazine." And so I really said, "Yeah, yeah, you're gonna, everyone's gonna love this.
Yeah.
There's not many kids that can do this," and
No.
put him on a pedestal like that.
Oh, it's true though. I mean, you
I'm
might
going to
be
help. I'm going to
gassing him up,
help.
but it's true. Yeah, I can remember. I still have to like look away from my finger when I put in and take out contacts. So I'm very impressed. And then, is it? I've heard that old age makeup is really different, but I guess it works on really
Mm,
like elastic skin as well. Like because it's harder to draw a child even, like just with pen and
yes.
paper. So is it just like I don't know, consistency
Yeah.
of the skin that makes it hard to work with, like both ways, or how does?
Yeah, it definitely is hard. I mean, it's because of just that youthful skin, isn't
Mhm.
it? It's and like and also like we had the designs we had going, and in about 2 weeks before we started to film, Danny got on a Zoom call because I'm in a different state, so I flew over, but eventually, but he got in this, they got on a meeting and said, "Look, I just got to tell you that I think we need to go back to his original idea of Oliver." So that changed everything. So I didn't have a huge time to build because we changed our designs, and so that was a bit of a oh my god, what am I going to do? How am I going to do this now? Like, it's hard enough. I didn't have much time, but now it's even worse. But it showed you his bravery, like to go back to what he really values, and so I just went with it, and but yeah, it kind of, so the first few stages was knocked back a little bit, because he didn't want to let it out too early, that it was too creepy. So yeah, so the early ones we just kept them simple, but yeah, but the youthful skin does pay that is not good, but because we went crazy in the end, it didn't matter too much,
Okay.
So yeah, and like in the earlier ones, you'll see his one contact lens is dark, one eye is darker than the other. It's very subtle. We don't dote on him early too much, so you don't probably pick up on it. But we made little hair pieces at the top that when you first see him, he's a little bit darker in certain spots, and obviously got the birthmark. And but yeah, we just changed him up a little tiny bit just to make him a bit different. But yeah,
Cool.
it's yeah.
So, for anyone listening who wants to be just like you when they grow up, how did you get into the field and what advice do you have?
Yeah, it's a great question. Yeah, it's a tricky one. Like, I mean, I started when I was 10,
Cool.
and yeah, and like there's a guy in the States called Tom Savini. You probably would have heard of Tom Savini, but he's a famous effects guy, and there's Dick Smith, Rick Baker, all those guys, Stan Winston. I grew up with all those, but the first one that get my attention was he's well before his time with the media part of things. Like now with the social media, you've got all those artists they're all kind of rock stars in some ways. They're always, you've got the Instagrams, they've got TikTok, they're getting podcasts and all that kind of stuff. But back in that era, the 80s and 70s, there wasn't really any of that. And Tom Savini was that person. He was just charismatic. He was kind of like the pin-up boy for Frank Gloria and all those types of things. He had charisma. And I hated horror films. And so I was so scared of him. I was a little chicken, right? And so I just happened to see a video. It's called Screen Greats. And it was Tom Savini, Volume 1. So Tom Savini just gets interviewed, and it's just a documentary on his life and his career and at the time. And I just flipped out. I just saw this guy was a perfect kind of magician, illusion. And because I was so scared of horror films, I just saw it for what it was, and didn't realize then there at 10 that this is not real. And then I saw this guy that's just so funny, and I just wanted to be that. And so I just thought, oh my god, I want to do this. This is so cool. So then I just started, grabbing stuff in my dad's shed, trying to make stuff, and trying to take my mum's makeup and try and make wounds and stuff like that. So didn't know how, because back in Australia it was just so remote. You know what I mean? It still is, but we didn't have any of those materials. Like, so I'd go to a shop and try and find makeup, and it was just it was just like a theatre makeup. It didn't have any prosthetic stuff, and so it was kind of very different back then. There was no internet, obviously, so yes, looking at books and then finding out. And so my nana bought me, a Tom Savini book, and then that was my Bible. And so I just, was making things up. And so it kind of, it's a different way through. But yeah, so I think with people, it's a matter of just patience,
Mhm.
perseverance,
Mhm.
and persistence. You know, like if you kind of have those P's in place and you just don't give up and just keep going, somewhere along the line, you're going to get somewhere. Like it's
Mhm.
just a matter of, and it's believing. Even if you don't believe in yourself, you just got to keep believing, I suppose, and fake it. Fake, you know, if you don't believe
Yeah.
it, you just got to keep going until something happens. And it's a lot easier these days. You know what I mean? So um, yeah, to get that opportunity because there's a bit of a in Australia there's a bit more of an industry now.
Mhm.
So so yeah, so I think yeah, it's just but you've got to do the hard work. You have to practice makes perfect.
Mhm. Yeah.
Yeah,
Is
yeah,
there, yeah, that's a great answer. Of
yeah,
it. Just keep doing it until you do it. Like that's the answer for like
yeah,
everything, but
yeah,
especially something like practical like
yeah.
that.
And I still go off that Tom. So Mary Kay, so I'll just quickly say I still go off some of the philosophies of Tom Savini. Like I mean, you know, I mean, he always just say the more you do, the more you get to do. And it's the same thing. I mean, you've got jobs come in all the time, and sometimes I've got no money, sometimes I've got money, and I'll try and help them out. I'll try and do it if we can, and it's kind of it's educating myself. It's
Mhm.
educating the guys in my workshop, whoever's work. So we're always got multiple jobs going because you know it'll teach the younger ones. It'll teach the you know we've always got something to learn. So
Yeah.
I think it's I think it holds you in good stead.
Is there any kind of project that you've wanted to do that you haven't, or do you have like a favorite project that you've done?
Um, now look, there's
Okay.
my favourite project. They're all pretty good. They're all got their own little
Mhm.
thing. So when I sit there and watch the movie, um, yeah, like I'll watch it and I'll know what I did that day, like you know, because it's all spliced up into different
Right.
weeks, right? So,
Hmm.
but I'll remember, oh, I got a speeding fine that day. I'm like, oh, yeah, remember that, you know, that kind of thing. So, and or you know, the actor will do something funny or whatever. So you have moments and you
Hmm.
get good camaraderie. But last year I did a war series called Narrow Road. We did Together, which hasn't come out yet.
Oh, I'm excited
Um,
for that.
we did
Oh,
Bring
that's,
It Back. Yeah, yeah.
I was just
So all
talking
of them,
about that, the eye part that's in the trailer,
yeah,
because my
yeah,
husband
yeah,
has pink eye right now, and he was like, "Do you want an Eskimo kiss?" And I was like, "Just like in that movie, I'm gonna go talk to him right
yeah,
now."
yeah,
So
yeah. That's
yeah,
it.
I
You
can't wait
start,
for it. I'm excited.
you might start growing together. But the thing is, right? All those movies, but I got to admit, Bring It Back had a special. It's just like that. That was last year. We did some really cool things, but Bring It Back was my. I don't know why, but because I think I was behind the eight ball
Yeah.
on that job so much, and um, and there was another effects company on too. So they're great guys. They get on well with them, but there's always that rivalry.
Yeah.
So I thought I'm going to fucking swim. I'm going to either swim or sink here. And at most of it, I was sinking, but I just kept. I did have no sleep, Mary Kay. Do you understand? I had no fucking sleep on that thing, so I was in fear of looking like a fool. And so that means a lot. So when I see it and everyone's going, "Oh my god, oh god, fuck, I can't believe I did that."
Yeah.
So I'm more impressed about that than the actual look, if that makes sense. I'm so
Yeah.
happy that I didn't fail that part.
Yeah.
So
Totally
because I thought I
understand.
was.
Yeah.
Yeah. so
Cool.
so yeah, so that holds a special thing. But Hacksaw Ridge was another special movie
Hmm.
because that gave me an opportunity. And once I did Hacksaw Ridge, then it kind of was good on my resume in regards
Hmm.
to you worked with Mel Gibson.
Hmm.
It would give him a bit more of a go. So it kind of broke a few, opened up a few doors.
Yeah. Yeah.
Just on a paper perspective,
Hmm.
but Upgrade with Lee Winnell. I did Lee Winnell job with Upgrade, and I'm not sure if you've ever seen that, but it was such a cool film, but just didn't have enough budget to
Hmm.
if they were to do a remake of it, it would just kick ass, like just with a bigger budget because he's pretty much a visionary himself. So as you know, so yeah, so there's so many different ones. The TV show, the last season of Preacher came out to Australia, and I did that a few years ago. and that was super good. That was so much fun. You know what I mean? Like, so they all had their like little moments. I'd like to do more kind of, yeah, like horror movie with creatures and monsters and, you know, vampires and stuff like that, werewolves. Yeah, I'd love to do more of that.
Mm-hmm.
I'd love to, yeah, have something more creative
Mm-hmm.
and yeah, like a series even. You know, that'd be good. That'd be good to so where you can use your imagination
Yeah.
and all the horror and gore stuff is fine, but we're doing a war film at the moment called Play Dead, and that's great. It's all good, but after a while, it's as much of a muchness. You
Mm-hmm.
know, I'm not really into the blood and gore as much, to be
Mm-hmm.
honest with you. So I kind of like more the creatures and, yeah, monsters. That's what I got into for that.
Yeah.
So yeah,
That sounds really fun. I don't know how big Halloween is in Australia, but do you go really hard at Halloween for with creatures and stuff?
yeah. So
Okay.
so yeah,
That
so
wasn't one of my
like
original questions. I just was going there.
yeah.
So
So Australia now is quite popular. Like, I
okay.
mean, it's great to see. Like, it is great to see. I mean, it's kind of like it's not like the US in regards to the enormity of it all. Like, I
Mm-hmm.
mean, apart from Christmas, it's like that's your biggest year, your
Mm-hmm.
biggest day of the year, isn't it? Like,
Mm-hmm.
money wise. But here it gets really big. But it's a lot of that slapstick kind of,
The fun
yeah,
stuff. Yeah.
prop
Let's yeah.
stuff, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Yeah.
well, yeah, but it's cheap. It's a cheaper version. It's not like, you know, it's from China. It's not that kind of real
Mm-hmm.
well made stuff. So, but it's very very popular, and it's great to see the streets, you know, the kids and stuff like that. And so I do, and it's great fun. I've got, you know, I do people up when they want me to do it. But you know, like it's quite bizarre because I don't think I've had a free Halloween for God knows how many years now because I've always had work at that time.
Right. That makes sense.
So so yeah, so it's a bit of a crash bash. Here you go from some people, and then like last year, I think I got only I was working and I quickly put on some people, and then, you know, then I can't remember, but every year I've got a job on. It just kind of
Right.
coincides, so it kind of stuffs me up a bit. Mm.
That makes
But it is
sense.
big. Yeah, it is big, and
Okay.
it's great to see. So, but but yeah, it's just as I said, it's kind of it's only become big in the last few years. I
Mm,
grew up with it because my mum's English, so
okay.
yeah, yeah. So the English do when they do Guy Fawkes Night and all that kind of stuff. It's a
Right.
little bit different. So we used to do Bob the Apples.
Mm.
So yeah, so
Mhm.
they'd put apples
Oh yeah,
in
yeah, yeah. Bobbing
water,
for
you
apples.
know.
Yeah, I almost
Yeah,
drowned
yeah,
doing that as a child for
yeah,
sure.
yeah. I
Yeah.
think my mum was got
Yeah.
that. And I think a string, we used to have it on the clothesline, we'd put the string with the apple on the clothesline,
Oh yeah,
and
we
you
have
know,
to
and
like
you try
jump.
and,
Hmm.
yeah.
That's a fun
I,
one
I beat
too.
my I'd beat my cousins because I got a big mouth. So
Right.
yeah.
Yeah, my cousins now would always compete for that as well. Okay, so my last question really is just what did I not ask you about that I should have asked you about? What do you want to talk about that people don't ask you when you get interviewed?
Oh, okay. Um, I don't know.
I put you on the spot. Sorry. We can.
Look, no, that's it's okay. Look, you're only as good as your team, and I've got a good team. So I think you know, like someone's got to get their praise
Mhm.
and you know the pats on the back, and you know I get that obviously, but and I'm very grateful for that. But also the team, you know, that I have is important,
Yeah.
and and sometimes you have your team in the workshop, and then you've got a team on set, and the team on set kind of get a little bit more too because they're on set and people are
Mhm.
patting them when we do good stuff on set, but the guys in the workshop don't get that, and
Mhm.
so I think it's important to let everyone know that that yeah, those people aren't forgotten, and they hold an important role in the success and of you know the things like you know Oliver, because you know without them I haven't got the job, I haven't got, you know, the success, or or the audience doesn't get the same reactions anymore because we haven't got them built. So yeah, so it's important. And yeah, just that, and I think that's what next really come to mind.
Okay, that's a great answer. Thank you
The
so much. Yeah,
yeah, yeah. And, no, that's okay, Rico.
yeah.
Lovely to chat.
Lovely to chat with you. Thank you again so much for your time. This was a delight. I'll share it with everyone when it goes up, and hope you have a great rest of
Fantastic.
your weekend. Thank you so much. This was
Yeah,
great.
have a good Friday night. Enjoy a red
Thank you.
wine.
I probably will do that in just a second. So thank you. Enjoy your morning coffee. Thank you so much.
Excellent. Thank you so much. Okay, take care.